and a couple of senior journalists today. Manish Anand is joining us. We sort of dissect everything that's happened through the week in our political arena as we approach the big election to try and figure out what's really going on. So the big conversation, obviously, this week, the arrest of Arvind Kejriwal, bail to Sanjay Singh, along with that, the Congress and its accounts being frozen, and all of the other things that are happening around it, including the entry of Sunita Kejriwal, Arvind Kejriwal's wife, into the political arena as well. Joining me right now is Aditya Menon, political editor of the Quint, and Manish Anand, who is a political analyst. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. I'm going to go straight to it, right? Manish Anand, you track the BJP very closely. Can you explain to me this, right? If the BJP is nearly assured of a win in this election, what is the need to do all of these things?
That's $1 million question. Nobody can be assured of a victory in elections. And if anybody says that, I think it would be highly incorrect. And the slogans that we are hearing, that Abki Baar 400 par and all that, 370, I reckon them to be in the realm of psychological warfare in politics. That is to, put your opponents into a sort of self-doubts. So that is what the BJP is trying to do with these slogans. Nothing is certain in politics. The verdict is in the minds of the people, and the people will tell the verdict only on the day of the counting. So before that, we don't know. But the way the BJP has, went ahead on boarding so many allies, that definitely drops a kind of suggestions that the BJP may not be that sure of getting a victory on its own. What was the need for the BJP to try to talk to the BJD in first place? Because even the top leadership of the party did not deny it, and the speculation kept going on for almost 3 weeks. And both the parties are the number one and number two parties. So that could have created a kind of a monopoly situation in the politics of Odisha. So that was very weird. Then if you look at Bihar, if you look at Muzaffarpur Lok Sabha seat, the incumbent MP Ajay Nishad resigned from the BJP only yesterday, and he had defeated the candidate who has been given the ticket by the BJP. And that person was from the Vikasil Insan party. So that suggests that BJP has indirectly onboarded that party also in its alliance in Bihar. So what is the desperation on the part of the BJP if it is so comfortable, crossing 370 mark? So definitely nothing is certain.
Nothing is certain. Aditya, it was very interesting. At one of these, mainstream conclaves, Navika Kumar, I think, put a question to the finance minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, asking her, why is it your party is onboarding so many corrupt politicians? And we had an interesting article by the Indian Express this morning talking about how 25, leading politicians facing corruption, charges have shifted to the BJP, and 23 of them have sort of found reprieve from their cases. So it does, there's a saying in India, Samdan Dandabed, which is like, I'll use all measures available to me to get my job done. Is that what we're seeing right now with the BJP?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think regarding Kejriwal, Pratap Bhanu Mehta in his column wrote very well that they're going after Kejriwal just because they can, and just to
Right,
demonstrate
because
their
Delhi is what,
power.
7 seats, right? It's
Absolutely. And BJP almost had those 7 seats in the bag, even without all these things that they did. In fact, it's after this that there might be some latent sympathy for Arvind Kejriwal in Delhi, and now some of those seats might come into play, which were otherwise in BJP's kitty. So it was difficult to understand why BJP went after Kejriwal just before elections. I think it is what Professor
yeah.
Mehta wrote. They're doing it just because they can, to demonstrate their supreme power over the opposition.
No, but there's this other angle, Aditya, and one of our audience members have also brought it up. Ajay Chandak says basically, the person who is currently, giving evidence against Kejriwal has actually contributed electoral bonds to the BJP. His father has now got a ticket from the BJP. It's murky in the very least,
It's
and possibly might
absolutely.
not hold up in court as well.
And the another approver, his kin has gotten a ticket from BJP's ally, the Telugu Desam party. So I mean, it's very strange how two people who were also accused in the scam turned approvers and suddenly have found favor. They got bail, they gave electoral bonds, now are getting tickets and giving evidence against the BJP's primary opposition in the national capital. So it's all a little, just too many coincidences are happening over here.
So it's also interesting because Farooq Abdullah made a statement saying, "Is arrest se unki kad बढ़ गई है कि Arvind Kejriwal will now become an even bigger politician because of it." Are you buying into that argument,
I
Aditya?
think so. But I think till now, I mean, if one goes by the opposition rally on Sunday, we had all the leaders on the stage, and behind them there was this huge, graphic. I mean, this TV graphic of Arvind Kejriwal. So, I mean, the optics was quite clear that Arvind Kejriwal, I mean, he's not the prime ministerial candidate, but he is for now the default face of the opposition's agitation against the government.
Huh.
So at least that has been achieved.
A position that was sort of vacated by Nitish Kumar and left open for
Yeah,
decades.
and not quite taken up by the Congress
Yeah.
due to their own internal issues.
Manishi, there's this other angle, right? So Pinarayi Vijayan in Kerala has criticized the Congress, saying when this first came up against Arvind Kejriwal, it was in fact the Congress who egged the police along to investigate the Aam Aadmi Party, and now see what has happened. So, are you seeing this as sort of rifts between the left and the Congress, given that they tend to be rivals in Kerala, or is the India bloc looking stronger than ever now? Or at least more
I
united, maybe. Phrase
I
it
think
differently.
with the Sunday rally of the opposition, there is a life back in the opposition camp. Otherwise, they were looking quite wayward. In Bengal, they could not clinch the seat adjustment deal. In Punjab, they are not having any seat alliance. So they were looking quite wayward, and jailing of Arvind Kejriwal gave a kind of an opportunity to regroup for them. Still, a kind of narrative, that cohesive narrative that you wanted from the opposition is somewhat missing still, because even the Sunday rally was all about Arvind Kejriwal. And a day before that, Jairam Ramesh maintained a number of times that the rally is not about an individual. He, in fact, also mentioned that even Hemant Soren has been arrested by the
Hmm.
Enforcement Directorate. So he tried all the best that he could do to ensure that Arvind Kejriwal doesn't get the limelight. But eventually, the Sunday rally was all about Arvind Kejriwal. And if you look at the international media, they all headlined saying that opposition is rallying because of Arvind Kejriwal. So he has brought life back into the opposition camp. And if you look for the last 10 days, he has been able to grab the national headlines. So the kind of space that the BJP was dominating before that has gone back to the anti-BJP forces. So that is the impact of Arvind Kejriwal going to custody of the AD. And somehow there was a report, I hope you may have read in the Indian Express yesterday, that even the Election Commission is having discussions about the opposition
Yes.
claim that there is a lack of level playing field. And in 2019 also they had given a directive to the investigative agencies not to arrest the politicians just on the eve of elections. So they may come up with a stronger kind of directive. And the way Sanjay Singh has got bail yesterday, the Enforcement Directorate did not oppose the bail, and there was no money trail kind of a claim on the part of the bail plea, which was not protested by the ED. So we are seeing that a bit focus going back to Arvind Kejriwal. Now he's a bigger leader than what he was before his arrest.
So here's a question now, first to Manish and then to Aditya. Arvind Kejriwal refused the summons of the ED 9 times before he was arrested. I think it was 9 or 10 times before he was arrested, right? So he's a smart man. Do you think he was courting arrest? He was like, come and arrest me because it will be good for my political career? Manish?
I think now Lalu Prasad Yadav and Hemant Soren would be regretting while Yadav quit when he was a chief
Right, yeah.
minister, when CBI arrested him, he was at the peak of his popularity, and his party had full domination in the Bihar Assembly. And Hemant Soren, he could have also continued. Definitely, Arvind Kejriwal is a very smart politician, and he studied the case thoroughly, and he in fact argued his own case in the court as well. So Arvind Kejriwal is a politician who is coming out as a perfect match to the ability of the BJP to intimidate its opposition. So Arvind Kejriwal definitely wanted to grab the attention of the people, and that is why he delayed all the summons so that he could continue in the public consciousness, in the public memories. And this way, the way Sunita Kejriwal is coming out with videos as a simple middle-class woman giving out statements on behalf of her husband, that suits the image of Aam Aadmi that Arvind Kejriwal has cultivated for so many years. I think he is playing very smart politics. BJP must be on the back foot.
Aditya, even in fact, we had, I think, Manoj Kumar of the BJP who criticized Sunita Kejriwal, saying in what capacity is she meeting with MLAs and addressing the Aam Aadmi Party? She has no capacity. This is Parivarvad. But do you believe that strategy has pulled off for the Aam Aadmi Party? Sorry.
I think there is a lot of sympathy that Sunita Kejriwal and Kalpana Soren also, for that matter, are getting from the public. I think the entire optics of the rally, even before the rally, how the two wives of the chief ministers, incarcerated chief ministers, met, and they embraced each other, and there was a lot of bonhomie between them. The visuals are very, very, I mean, they went viral. Also, Sunita Kejriwal is facing an unprecedented amount of trolling. It's absolutely vicious, the kind of memes that are coming from the right-wing ecosystem against her. So it's also obviously having a reaction, and there is a lot of sympathy that she is getting from. I mean, the rank and file of the Aam Aadmi Party does look up to her, not so much in terms of leadership, but as some kind of a fulcrum to sort of galvanize the party. So I think, a lot of focus on Sunita Kejriwal because of that, and it is working for the Aam Aadmi Party as of now.
You are muted.
Do you believe, Aditya, that Arvind Kejriwal will be allowed to continue to be chief minister from inside of jail?
I can't say. I think a lot depends on the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi and how much the center also wants to escalate this matter. If there is a sense, especially after the international pressure, that they don't want this thing to become an issue anymore, then probably that is not a course of action they would take. But if they do want to escalate, then that would be the natural progression because I mean, running a government from jail does give the Lieutenant Governor an opportunity to sort of make that kind of case that the government should be dismissed. So yeah, but I think given the international pressure, probably the BJP may not go for such an escalation.
So that's the other question I wanted to bring up, right? So there is international pressure. We've had a statement from the UN. We've had a statement from Germany, from the US. Is this not something the government would have sort of taken into consideration in their strategy before they did this? Or is this something that they are going to sort of, we've seen in the past our government react with a certain amount of, hey, don't tell us what to do. We know how to run our country. Is it likely to be sort of that sort of blasé reaction, Manish?
I think the government may not have anticipated that this could be the scale of international reactions. I think this is in the aftermath of the arrest that the government is reacting. Germany, the US, both are the strategic partners of India, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been regularly invited to the G7 meetings at all the summits in the last 5-7 years. So India would not have wanted to have got adverse comments from these countries. I think it was unexpected, and they may not have anticipated that international focus would be that much on the arrest of Arvind Kejriwal, because in the case of Jharkhand, nobody paid any even attention to the arrest. So Hemant Soren just simply walked into the AD custody, and nobody, even we in the national media, forgot him a day after. So this is the advantage of being a chief minister of Delhi, because in the national media is here, the
Absolutely.
international attention is here, and Jharkhand that way did not get that much of attention. Jharkhand is a full state in comparison to Delhi. So I think it is also the stature of Arvind Kejriwal, because the kind of space that he commands in the opposition space. If we remember that before getting into the ED custody, he was very actively campaigning in Gujarat. And if you look at Gujarat, BJP has a lot of problems to count in that state. Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party have got into an alliance. They have a seat adjustment. Unlike the assembly elections, the Aam Aadmi Party would not be splitting the votes of the Congress. So there is definitely a one-on-one contest in Gujarat. So at the same time, the kind of candidate selection that the BJP has done is inviting a lot of backlash in Gujarat. So that way, Arvind Kejriwal's campaigning in Gujarat could also have been a factor that the BJP may have, worried about haze in the electoral campaigning field.
Very interestingly, Aditya, today Rahul Gandhi has filed his nomination for Wayanad. His sister was with him, which means he's not filing for Amethi as far as we know. So that is that a seat that the Congress is sort of giving up? Very interesting.
That, if Rahul Gandhi isn't contesting, then it probably they are giving up. Of course, one was hearing that Supriya Srinath would be fielded, but then after this entire controversy with Kangana Ranaut,
Yeah.
I don't think that is going to happen. So
Because she's
unless they
not
put
being,
up
Supriya Srinath is not being fielded from the constituency that she was
that
fielded
she
from
was,
last
but
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was also speculation she would be fielded from Amethi if Rahul doesn't contest. But I think now she's isn't definitely not contested from Maharajganj, which was her seat, and most probably Amethi also won't happen. But it is a bit disappointing for the opposition alliance, at least from what one is hearing from the Samajwadi Party sources, that they want the family to contest these two seats because since several elections, Samajwadi has been supporting the Congress in those two seats. In fact, in the 2014 victory of Rahul Gandhi, Mulayam Singh Yadav and Akhilesh Yadav played a very important role. So for the Samajwadi, it's a bit of a loss of face that if the Gandhis themselves are not contesting from Uttar Pradesh, it really takes away a lot of weight from the entire alliance. A lot of heft from the alliance. So it's not a good sign from the Congress if they are just conceding their traditional family pocket borrow.
Any word on the other seat? Is Priyanka Gandhi likely to contest from there?
There has been no movement in that direction. That is all one can say as of now. Maybe, if she was contesting, then a lot of groundwork would need to go into that. That groundwork is not visible from what one is hearing from Raebareli. So it could. In the end, they might just take a whimsical decision, which the Congress often does. But as of now, there is no groundwork being done to put Priyanka Gandhi there, and without groundwork, the party also runs the risk that Priyanka contests her first election and loses, and then what happens? This sort of trump card that the party has been saving for so many years, even that trump card ends up getting squandered.
Manish, do you see the Congress sort of seeming a little weaker in Uttar Pradesh?
Indeed, definitely. The way Priyanka Gandhi, I suppose, in the last election in 2019, she had made the statement, "मैं लड़ूं क्या चुनाव?" ऐसा उन्होंने कहा था. She had said like that. Should I contest the election? And she was in charge of Uttar Pradesh also. She only left the state a month back. So, if the Congress wants to revive at the national stage, then Uttar Pradesh is the state to go for. And the kind of experiments that they did in the past, they did not work, like aligning with, or rather indirectly supporting Chandrasekhar Azad, Ravan in the western UP, sometimes sending feelers to Mayawati, or even in this election, in the run up to this election, there were attempts to reach out to Mayawati. But I think Congress is besieged with self doubts in Uttar Pradesh, and the party is definitely without leadership on the scale that Telangana has. Like Revant Reddy galvanized the party in Telangana within a few months. There are hardly anybody in Uttar Pradesh who can do that for the Congress. And the kind of politics that the Congress is doing in Uttar Pradesh, that is just piggyback riding Samajwadi Party. Samajwadi Party is dictating which would be the seats that you would contest. They announced even their candidates
Yeah.
before announcing the seat adjustments. So nobody is taking seriously to the Congress in Uttar Pradesh, and that reflects very poorly on the management of the affairs of the party in Uttar Pradesh, particularly.
I also want to bring up something that Atishi Marlena said in one of her press conferences. Aditya, she said that she's received phone calls from the BJP saying, come and join the BJP. I'm quoting her here. And if you don't join the BJP the next 1 month, you will also get arrested. In response, BJP spokespeople have said that she needs to provide proof ASAP or face legal action for making that statement. We've seen that the Election Commission has been quite severe with politicians making loose statements, but nothing has come of it. So, do you think that Atishi has sort of made her point and not, without having to provide evidence?
I think if BJP has filed a defamation, then she would at some point need to provide that proof. This is not something that an allegation that can be made. I think being approached by a party is one thing, but being approached and with the threat that if you
Threatened.
don't join the party, you will face action. I think that is a completely different level. Because parties approach other leaders all the time. I don't think that is anything defamatory. But this is a serious allegation she has made, and I think if BJP
Mm.
has decided to take this to court, she would need to provide some kind of evidence. And Aam Aadmi Party doesn't have a good track record as far as defamation cases are concerned. Mr. Kejriwal himself had to apologize to Bikram Singh Majithia of the Akali Dal for calling him a drug lord. So I mean that didn't turn out very well for the party. So I think Aam Aadmi Party would need to be a little careful over here what it ends up claiming.
Do you see a larger role for Sunita Kejriwal going forward? Or is she likely to only be in the limelight till such time as her husband is released from jail?
Manish, you want to?
In fact, if you look at Atishi, she was Goa in charge in the assembly
Mm.
election in 2022. And the whole case of the AD is about the money trail going to the Goa assembly elections. So one day or another day, she may also be going into the net of the ED. Saurabh Bhardwaj is also being mentioned in the ED investigations. Kailash Gehlot is already facing the questioning by the ED. So what we see is that the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi may have very serious issues about availability of the leaders who may be out of the AD net. So in that context, Sunita Kejriwal is definitely a safe bet. She has been privy to the deliberations of the party's core committee meetings. She had been present in several of the meetings, and Arvind Kejriwal is directly communicating with her. He is passing on the messages through her, and the kind of middle class image that Arvind Kejriwal
Mm.
wishes to portray in Delhi politics can definitely be conveyed through Sunita Kejriwal. I think she is the kind of choice that Arvind Kejriwal will make because of lack of alternative leadership.
That's interesting. Aditya and I both smiling at the idea that the Aam Aadmi Party is having trouble finding leaders who are not in the ED net. So anyone who has sat in a meeting might actually be at this point picked up by the ED. Aditya, do you agree Sunita Kejriwal can expect a larger role going forward?
I think the way Manish has put it, it really sounds logical because Aam Aadmi Party is also a small party, and if such a big chunk of their top leadership in their main state is facing such issues, they might have to look for an alternative. And she's someone Kejriwal can blindly trust.
Trust.
One does know for a fact that they won't sort of look towards the Punjab unit to sort of take over the party now, because
Mm-hmm.
then that would completely change the entire power equation within the party. So it has to be someone from the one of the Delhi faces, and I think one thing would be crucial is after Sanjay Singh comes back. Because Sanjay Singh, after getting bail, is likely to assume a much more important leadership role in the party, much more decision-making role in the party during the elections. Sanjay Singh also, by virtue of
He came
being
back
a Rajya
today, right?
Sabha,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
and
think
by
he back.
virtue of being
Yeah,
a Rajya
sorry.
Sabha MP, he has a very good equation with the Congress.
Mm.
Sonia Gandhi herself had expressed support for him when he was suspended. He has a good equation with Mallikarjun Kharge. So I think that would also make Sanjay Singh a very important person right now. Raghav Chedda, interestingly, is out of action. There have been news reports that he is in London for some lecture series or something like that. So yeah, he's not. He, at least for much of this controversy, he wasn't in the country, which is interesting because he, along
Yeah.
with Saurabh Bhardwaj, were the unquestioned number two after Kejriwal and Sisodia.
And also a very vocal sort of Aam Aadmi Party leader, right? For him to be missing at a time when, like Manish ji put it, they're at a loss for leaders. It seems interesting now that you bring it up.
Yeah, and maybe they're trying to sort of insulate him from this so that, but it's a little inexplicable because at least there will be public shows of loyalty, and
Yeah.
he's someone who
I
does
mean, he
like
could
the
have
limelight.
released a video from London if
Absolutely.
it was that, right? We no longer need him to physically be present. But I want to sort of change gears on this conversation a little bit and focus on the Prime Minister's campaign, who has been focusing, as we had talked about in the past, heavily on South India, because that is where the extra numbers have to come. If they want to go from where they are right now as the BJP into 400 400 par, they need numbers to come from the south of India because they've sort of maxed out the north already. There was this entire new controversy that interestingly came out, brought up by the Prime Minister and the local head of the BJP in Tamil Nadu, the Katchatheevu Island controversy, that the Congress party gave it away to Sri Lanka, seceded territory, and that is why we're having trouble. And the Congress will always be interested, as the Prime Minister said, in देश की टुकड़े टुकड़े करना. I just want to spend a minute on this. Do you believe that this is, and there's been a lot of debate on, whether or not that parcel or that island was actually ceded, because did it belong to us to begin with? Was it ours to give away? But do you believe that as a talking point and as a voting point, it will actually stick? Manish, if you want to go first.
I will take your memory back to the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Nationalism was the big plank of the BJP. In the wake of the Pulwama terror attack, India had carried out the surgical strikes, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi had an image that he punished Pakistan in a big way, and the people ignored all other issues like unemployment, inflation, price rise, whatever, and they voted for the BJP in a big way. So he was, in a way, able to cash in on the nationalism issue. But in this election, nationalism issue is silent. It is hardly visible anywhere. You may count on Ram Temple consecration issue, but nationalism issue is not working at all in any parts of the country. So to bring back this issue into the focus, I think this, I would say, unnecessary issue was dragged. First, because you have been in power for 10 years. So what did you do to reclaim this island? So you did not do anything. Secondly, there are reports that there was an exchange of territories. We got a wedge island in place of this island. So, and this was more resourceful. So it was a win-win kind of a situation for both India and Sri Lanka. And at the same time, Manish Tiwari yesterday went very assertive in his press conference, by saying that with the exchange of the enclaves with Bangladesh, we have given away thousands of squares of kilometers to Bangladesh. So Bangladesh gained more territories than we gained. And at the same time, we have problems with China in eastern Ladakh. We have already held almost 22 rounds of military commanders meetings, and nothing has come out. We are reportedly not able to patrol the areas which we were patrolling before the Galwan clash. So somehow the nationalism issue for the BJP is on the back foot, and that is a problem area for the BJP. And I think to reinvent that issue, this was brought specifically with a very, I would say, a clever manner, because K. Annamalai filed an RTI, and he particularly asked very two specific questions. He wanted answers only for two questions, which dealt with 1961
Yeah.
note and 1974 notes. So why was he asking very two specific questions? That means there could have been a kind of a suggestion of premeditated sort of an application. So K. Annamalai is a big hope for the BJP, coming back to your South India focus of the BJP. K. Annamalai in the within the BJP is being looked at as somebody who is pulling crowd in his Padyatra and in his rallies.
Yeah.
People are coming.
Yeah. He's very
So that
popular.
is why the BJP thinks that he is somebody who can bring the BJP into the Dravidian politics, the high wall of Dravidian politics, which has stopped the BJP from coming into Tamil Nadu, may finally be broken by K. Annamalai. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi started his election campaign this year from Tamil Nadu only, and
Mm.
he's spending a lot of times on Tamil Nadu. And I have been told that he is learning even Tamil. I'm not sure whether it's correct or not, but I've been told that he's picking up a few skills in the Tamil language, and he most often quotes Thiruvalluvar, the Tamil
Mm.
iconic poet. And apparently he has quoted the poet in from the Red Fort speech also, and from the United Nations speech also. So he's trying to claim a sort of Tamil Nadu legacy in his campaign. And Tamil Nadu is a big hope for the BJP. 3.77% was the vote share in 2019. If they have to win the election, they have to come to double digit. So that we have to see.
That's really interesting, and of course, people from South India are linguistic, pride. So if he's going to learn to speak Tamil, he'll have to learn to speak Kannada and Telugu also. Otherwise, people are going to feel a little left out. It's a tall order for one man. But Aditya, very interesting, sort of controversy around this island. Sri Lanka has turned around and said, first of all, it doesn't matter what happens internally in India, it has no bearing on us, and we've not received any official communication. So, this is obviously playing to the gallery in India. We're not responding to it to some extent. This is what the Sri Lankan media has said, but in terms of official comment, there's been no comment from the government. So, just controversy for the sake of controversy, Aditya?
Yeah, it was unnecessary. I think all said and done till now, in terms of foreign policy, there was a degree of bipartisanship. And regarding Katchatheevu Island, even the present government and the present foreign minister, when he was foreign secretary, has had sort of taken the same stand that has been India's stand throughout. So there was no need, as Manish ji said, to make this a political issue. And to be fair, it hasn't received much traction in Tamil Nadu as well. Yeah, it's a bit reckless, I think, to bring in because it really takes relationships with our
Hmm.
neighbors into uncertain territory. They did it with Bangladesh earlier, and
Yes.
now with Sri Lanka. So yeah, it was completely unnecessary in that sense. But regarding Tamil Nadu, of course, I think what the BJP is doing is very interesting. And I do feel that the BJP's vote share is going to increase considerably this time.
Hmm.
It's also, and they also want to go create a Tamil identity that predates the social justice movement. So that's why Thiruvalluvar, that's why they are invoking Sengol and things like that. So they want to sort of say Tamil pride, which is before the social justice movement. So they want to not let Dravidian movement or social justice movement hijack what they see is Tamil Nadu's heritage. It's an interesting
Aditya,
approach.
also interestingly, sorry for interrupting you, from within Tamil Nadu and also other, the Tamil population that perhaps doesn't live in the state but lives in Delhi, lives across the country. For the upper caste Tamil population, they are also not very pro-Dravidian movement. So there is a population of voters there who are pro Ram Mandir, who are not Dravidian, not social justice. Is that the population the BJP is speaking to?
It is, I think, the question is how big is that segment? Because just on the basis of Brahmins, so Brahmins in Tamil Nadu aren't as numerous as Brahmins in Uttar Pradesh. They're barely 1 or 2%. But BJP is hoping that there is a sizable non-Dravidian constituency which they can occupy. So I mean, there were sections of voters which voted for AIDMK and Congress for all these years as being sort of the lesser evil compared to the DMK. So
Mm.
BJP is hoping that this vote will come to the party, but how big that vote is, we don't know. And secondly, BJP's organization is not uniform across Tamil Nadu. So they are stronger in places like Coimbatore,
Yeah.
Ramanathapuram, Kanyakumari, Tuticorin, but not in many other places. So I think in those places, ADMK will continue to be the main opposition to the DMK. But wherever BJP has a good organization and it has put up good candidates, like Annamalai, for instance, they will make an impact. They may
They're
not
likely to
win
make a
this time,
difference.
but I think their vote share will definitely go up.
And the island controversy feeds in that way really well in the sense that it makes the DMK look bad. It appeals to the fisher folk, for which this is an emotive issue. But maybe for such a small constituency of, Tamil fishermen, to sort of destabilize relationships with a neighbor might be quite a gamble.
In fact, Sri Lankan Prime Minister was in China on last week. And after coming back to Colombo, he said that China has agreed to restructure the debt and also build the Hambantota port as well as the Colombo airport. The Nepali Prime Minister was also in China for 9 days. And he has said that he has proposed to China to build China-Nepal economic corridor. In Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina is countering the boycott India campaign. In Maldives, Mohammad Muizu has ensured that whatever strategic our locations were there, installations were there, have been taken out. So we have big trouble in the South Asia, in our immediate neighbors. So China is very much here. And if you remember, just a month back, Sri Lanka had stopped Chinese spy ship, allegedly a spy ship, from docking at the Hambantota port, and China had managed Maldives to host that ship. Now, in 1 month time, Sri Lanka is hosting China to build that port and the Colombo airport. So that's a big loss for maybe a temporary kind of a thing, but it is not in the interest of India. We already know that China has a strategy to encircle India from in the Indian Ocean, as well as in the Bay of Bengal and in the Himalayas. Pakistan is already hostile to us. So not a great thing to talk about this issue right now on the part of this Sri Lankan controversy.
Or is there a possibility that our neighbors understand playing to the gallery at the time of elections domestically?
Definitely. I think they must be knowing all these things. They have been used to about these things because they are very familiar about Tamil Nadu politics, about the Tamil fishermen issues. So they may not be taking it too seriously. I think they may ignore it. Or rather, there must be already some diplomatic sound outs that please don't pay that much of attention to the issue.
Aditya, anything you want to add to this conversation?
I mean, I completely agree with what Manish ji was saying, and especially with China really investing in these countries, it's very reckless for India to act in this manner, and we've already squandered a lot of goodwill in Nepal and in Sri Lanka and in Maldives. Now, I mean, and Bangladesh is the only regime where we have a good equation with, but if even that is going south, then it's a problem. Yeah.
All right. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me this week. It's been fascinating, and no doubt it will continue to become more fascinating as we approach the big election. For our audience, remember to like this live stream, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps us, of course, bump us up in the algorithm and helps us get more views. For more ground reports and updates, take a look at the Quint website for all of the work that they're doing. They also have a YouTube channel that you would benefit from, listening to. Download the Beatroot app for more news and updates. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.